Hi, this is Beth Cooper, and welcome to another Bluebird chat. This time we're chatting with Barbara Jaenicke, master pastel and oil painter, who will be in our studio this April. Hi, everybody. This is Beth Cooper, and I own Bluebird Studios in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And this is my first Bluebird chat of 2025. And I'm here with Barbara Jaenicke, who I'm so excited is coming back to the Bluebird. She was there in 2022, right, Barbara?
That's about right. Yeah. A couple
Yeah,
years ago at least. Yeah.
2022. And she also was very helpful to me from the very beginning. I called Barbara when I needed an extra ear. I mean, some good advice about hosting workshops, and been very helpful to me. And I really appreciate it. And I know we met like probably, I would guess 10, 12 years ago. And
Yeah, it was a while ago when I was teaching in Colorado. Yeah, when you were
yeah,
living
oh, with
there.
Terry Ludwig studio. And
Yeah, sure
so
was.
I appreciate all your support, Barbara.
Well, you're very welcome. I was happy to do it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
happy
you
to see the results too with your incredible studio.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah. Encourage everybody if you want to take this class, because it's really not that far away. I mean, April seems far, far away, especially I'm up here in the mountains and we've had snow, but it's not that far away. So I would suggest going and signing up. And let me just tell everybody real quick. April 21st, the night before the workshop starts, I host an icebreaker. It's at 5 p.m. and it's at the studio, so you can bring your gear. You can get all set up, meet Barbara, find your way to the studio, and then just feel comfortable coming the next day. And that oil workshop runs April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And then the next day is going to be that will then the next 2 days will start the pastel workshop. Now we're not going to host another icebreaker because a lot of the people are going to already be there.
Yeah. Sure.
So then the pastel workshop is the 25th and 26th. And another thing is sometimes having shorter workshops, it's a little less expensive than a 3 or 4 day. So a lot of people have told me that they appreciate that flexibility,
Yeah.
if they have budget concerns, that they
Sure.
don't
Yeah. And
want to.
I can cover a lot in just a couple days. So
Oh, I
I
know you
promise
can.
it'll be worth it.
You
Yeah.
absolutely can. If I were not running the workshop, I would be taking it. So tell us about your teaching and how you started demoing and your process, and the students in who might be interested on your tech, how you teach.
Well, I do try to break it down in, sort of bite-sized chunks. Really, in this particular one, we're going to focus on how to capture light in the landscape. But it's difficult to teach one particular topic by itself. They all sort of interrelate. So I'm still going to touch on other things like composition, values, edges, design, all that sort of thing. But it is going to really focus on capturing light. But I do, I do try to explain things in a very articulate way so people can understand. I know in the 3 day version of this, the very first day, we're going to do just two small exercises. So you're not really focused on creating an entire painting. You're focused on what we're going to look at in terms of light and shadow, temperature, that sort of thing. So I try to break it down into a more simplified aspect of how to think through color, temperature, and translate that into creating light in the landscape. Um, in the 2 day, I'm still going to cover a lot of that, but we're just going to scale it down just a little bit more. But I always do a brief talk to kick things off. I do a demonstration. The start of my paintings are always real important. I really emphasize a lot about composition and values. In this particular workshop, the values are going to play into how to capture light quite a bit. So I'll talk a lot about that. So yeah, the start of the painting is real important. But I will do a full demo in those workshops on the like I said, the 3 day, it'll be a couple of quick demos on the first day, and then the second and third day will be full start to finish for the most, oh, just about finished in those other 2 days. And then I believe in the 2 day, I'll do two full start to finish pastel demos for that pastel workshop. And lots of individual help at the easel afterward. Everybody works at a different pace. So I always work with people at the level that they're at. I welcome all levels. It isn't, specifically for beginners, but I'm happy to work with beginners and work with them at the stage that they're at.
That's great. That's great because so many people, I've hear this like, well, two of my best friends, girlfriends from college, they're like, "Oh, I want to take one of your workshops, but I've got to wait till I'm better at paint."
Better.
And I'm like, then you don't need a workshop, Give everybody a quick overview of the day. We start the class at 9 o'clock sharp, which means that I ask everybody to get to the studio about 8:15, 8:30, because I now serve a continental breakfast that's a complimentary. It's hard-boiled eggs, yogurt, cereal, bagels, cream cheese, coffee, tea, all that. So that gives everybody a chance to get to the studio that morning, get your coffee, have your bagel, be ready to start at 9. And then we'll take about maybe a 30 to 45-minute break. You think, Barbara? That's, not maybe not a full hour.
Yeah, I find most places you don't need a full hour. So
Yeah,
yeah, but and also the way I handle it, people can really take as much time as they want because the afternoon is their time.
uh-huh.
So if people just need a little bit more downtime, they're welcome to take it. And I find many people just eat a quick lunch and want to be right at their easel. So
Right.
it's up to the students really.
Well, and I bring lunches into the studio. I cater them in. I haven't planned this far ahead for this one, but usually I'll bring in the first day a chicken enchilada green chili casserole buffet from a local restaurant, and it's just delicious. And then the next day I might bring in fresh chopped salads with with breads, and then of course desserts. And then another day we might bring in some sandwiches. So I'm always kind of changing that up, but it's if people want to have their lunch catered in, it's $20. And it's just such a great convenience for everybody. Then you're not running around, because our studio is out in the country.
Yeah.
We're 7 miles from the plaza, which so it feels like you're out in the country, but you are close to town, but there's not that much around us to go and eat.
Yeah, it's a great time saver in a workshop when the
Yeah.
venue can provide a great lunch.
I do get good feedbacks about touring a couple of really top galleries on Canyon
Yeah,
Road. And
yeah,
then we do that about 4. And we only need an hour because Santa Fe literally rolls up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock. It doesn't matter if there's thousands of tourists, the galleries still close.
yeah.
So we usually do that and then go out for a group dinner. So
Out with the group. So yeah,
yeah,
however
it's fun.
you
It's
plan
fun.
it out, that'll be great with me. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, another exciting thing that's happened to you this past year is you launched your book, and I bought a copy of it, and I
Thank-
love it.
Yeah.
I just love the way you said how you started painting is so important. And when I first started doing pastels, I read an article that you wrote in Pastel Journal. And then I remember seeing you at IAPS, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Barbara Jaenicke. So your book
Yeah.
combined with how you started painting, I mean, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about how here we go, how the book came to be about. It's
Mhm.
fairly thick. It's basically a book of lessons. It combines a little over 20 written lessons that are also on the same website that the book is sold. It's called paintingthepoeticlandscape.com. And I was writing these lessons individually over a 2 year period and had a great library of a couple dozen lessons that were on the website. Individual lessons are only $5 on my website. So it's a
Yeah,
great
that was
opportunity.
amazing. I bought the snow
Yeah.
one. I mean, $5.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah. And so it's a great way to kind of feel out the how I do them
mhm.
and what my teaching style is, how I explain things. And then in the book it compiles all of those lessons released just about a year ago.
Mhm.
And actually, right, like as we're speaking, it's in its second print run.
Oh, awesome. Well, congratulations. So,
Well, thank
is there
you.
anything for students to purchase maybe as a textbook for your workshop?
Yeah, well, I just found out that there's a group in Colorado that is using this in a book club format. They're reading a chapter each week and then meeting to discuss the chapter. And then the following week, they bring in paintings that they did based on it. So I
Yeah,
thought that was such an amazing idea. I was so thrilled to hear that.
yeah.
So yeah, one of the first chapters, most of them alternate. Some are in oil, some are in pastel, but I try to explain it so it applies to both. So the concepts apply to both. But one is on color mixing, and it's the only one that's a dual lesson. It shows it both in pastel and in oil. And so it's color mixing, and then the pastel one is on color selection, how to think through color in a paint. This also shows my sketchbook, how I work things out in a sketch. Um, and then how that then translates to the beginning of a painting. I really appreciate the feedback people give me. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be able to provide it.
Yeah, excited then. Thank you for coming back. And I remember when you were there last time, we were like, oh yeah, I'll come back in 2 years. And then it's 2 years. I'm
Yeah, already.
already. So
Yeah,
okay. Well,
I'm real excited. You guys really put on a great workshop, the way you host it, the way you provide everything. Uh, you really think of all the details that are needed that makes all the students feel welcome, comfortable, and everything's there that they need.
yeah, and a bonus, which obviously it's not mandatory, but Billy likes to get people out on our horses just in the corral.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to get on a horse. It's amazing. So that's been a lot of fun. So okay, well, Barbara, this is great. I know that these chats have helped people decide, yeah, I'm going to take that workshop. And I think the thing about your workshop that's going to be so perfect is the book. I mean, and I would just highly recommend getting this book if you're going to take the workshop. I mean, it's just a great addition to your library.
They'll buy the book and then they'll come to a workshop and they sort of see what I talked about in the book, see it live and be able to ask their questions. And then a lot of people who come to the workshop before they have the book, and then they purchase the book, and the book serves as sort of a recap
Mhm,
of a lot of the things
mhm.
we cover in a workshop.
Okay, well, this was wonderful and I appreciate it. And I guess you and I'll chat later about our logistics with travel and all that. But well, thanks, Barbara.
Thanks so much.